Good Friday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully, when it's had a fantastic Friday so far. I am your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson. Let's go in and talk about the weather for your Friday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to talk about tonight. But first off, as we always do, it is Friday evening, so we have made it all the way to the end of the week. Made it all the way to the end of the week, so it is that time that we can now enjoy the weekend and be done with work for 2 days, and then we'll get right back to it next week. But we can now enjoy our time off. If we go on now and talk about what's going on throughout the entire, this entire state of South Carolina like we usually do, what are we going to talk about? Obviously, we will talk about our current conditions, what's going on currently right now as we speak. We also will have to talk about the weather for tonight. That's also another main thing that we will talk about that. And then also, we will talk about just our future weather and also the tropics. Tropics as well. We will continue to talk about our patterns. And as we continue throughout the future, obviously we will talk about the cold fronts that move in, our temperatures as well. So a good amount of stuff that we're going to talk about. So starting off first, what's going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina? Nothing right now. As of 8:57, no rainfall is falling throughout the entire state of South Carolina, but not all could be said for the entire U.S. Rainfall up here in southern northeast from Maine to New York to even Vermont. We also do have some rain going on in Minnesota. We have a huge severe weather risk going on down here inside of Oklahoma and Texas. We have flooding that is ongoing throughout Oklahoma. Rainfall moving into Arkansas and Missouri, and severe storms that is going through the state of Texas right now. It goes all the way from Fort Worth all the way up towards Oklahoma, about to enter Dallas. You're seeing some more severe weather moving near Killeen, Texas, and then also near kind of like the Texas-Mexico border. That's pretty much just how much and how long this line of severe weather is. It's stretching through the entire state. And if we go in and check right now and see, I think I can check this out. No, I can't do that. I got to go to this one. Select the starting point. This storm system right here ranges from one point all the way to the other point, around 460 miles. And that's just through Texas. What about all the way up here through Oklahoma? That's 619 miles. That's how long the storm system is. And so, even over there near Amarillo, they're having some severe weather. Flooding going on over there inside of New Mexico, and then we're seeing some rainfall with some high elevation snow going on up here in the Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon, at least about to occur. Rainfall also going on in Northern California. Now, what about our cloud cover? Cloud cover right now, we do, in fact, have some cloud cover going on throughout the upstate, going throughout the Midlands, going throughout the PD, and even like the Low Country and the Grand Strand looks actually pretty good right now. Not too much cloud cover going on through over there. And if we go into our cloud cover for the future, you'll see as we push this forward, cloud cover will move its way to the east. And as you get into like tomorrow morning, around like 8 a.m. or so, cloud cover will be moving its way through. But it's not completely a cloud takeover. It almost kind of just looks like a mostly cloudy takeover. Current temperatures right now, 55 in Columbia as well as 54 in Orangeburg, 55 in Somerville as well as 51 in Sumter, 56 in Georgetown as well as 59 in Murray's Inlet, 60 in Myrtle Beach as well as 53 in Conway, 52 in Florence and Hartsville as well as 57 in North Myrtle Beach. We also do have around 61 inside of Charleston, 56 in Aiken, and 58 also up here in Clemson, 56 in Greenville, 54 in Spartanburg and Gaffney as well as 50 in York, 51 Rock Hill, and 55 also up in Greenwood. Low temperatures for tonight around 44 in Greenville, 44 also in Anderson, as well as 41 in Spartanburg, 41 in Rock Hill, and 45 in Columbia, 44 in Sumter and at Camden, as well as 42 in Kingstree, 46 in Orangeburg, and 47 in Moncks Corner, 55 in Charleston, and 59 in Hilton Head Island, 49 inside of Georgetown, and 50 in Myrtle Beach. Now for your rainfall, no rainfall is expected at this time. Again, no rainfall is expected at this time as you go through tonight, going into tomorrow. Crazy score for tonight, we are at a 10. We are at a 10. That obviously is because it's going to be dry, no flood risk, chilly, clear, patchy fog, mostly clear skies. So for the most part, it's stable. Nothing that we have to really worry about. And if you're worried about thunderstorms, don't be, because for tonight and tomorrow we look good. But Sunday, thunderstorms are a possibility up there inside of the far upstate, going even along that western border between South Carolina and Georgia. And then the coastal areas definitely have a risk for some thunderstorms from Hilton Head Island all the way up to Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach. Excessive rainfall is also going to be a bit of a concern as we go into day 3. This is Sunday right here. Sunday, isolated flash flooding is possible here. Greenville going into Seneca, Anderson, Greenwood, McCormick, Edgefield, Gaffney, Union. All of these areas have a chance for some isolated flash flooding. Then for Monday, isolated flash flooding possible for pretty much almost all of the state. We're still 4 days out, so things can change. But for the majority, about 90% of the state, isolated flash flooding is possible. And then for day 5, this is Tuesday, nothing for Tuesday. I did see on a discussion that one of the National Weather Service officers, I think it's Wilmington, said that there was a chance for some isolated flash flooding on Wednesday as well, so we'll see what they say there as well as we get into tomorrow night. Let's go on now and look at the model. So we're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. You go on and push this forward, and you indeed just have no rainfall. No rainfall occurring as you go all the way through around 1 p.m. on tomorrow. Then what about even further in the future? Go all the way through to around 5, 6 a.m. Still not seeing much. The only time I'm really starting to see something is when I get to around 8, 9 to 10 a.m. on the 26th, which is Sunday. Seeing some isolated shower activity going on inside of the low country, maybe even the southern Midlands. And you can see that storm system that moves from Texas. It's moving its way over towards us. And by 2 p.m., I mean, I'm still just seeing isolated shower activity going on in like the western part of the state, western low country, western southern Midlands. And then I start to see that cold front from the west moving to the east from Texas. And if you go even further into the future, we go all the way through the 27th, the 28th, and the 29th. And then for the most part, just seeing some rainfall. I'm not really seeing anything too bad. And then after that, high pressure takes over. I think once we get past the 31st, Halloween, going into November the 1st, I'm not really seeing too much in terms of rainfall activity. And so also we can go in and look at the thermodynamics as well, looking at the dew points and see what's going to happen here. That front that's coming in from Texas, or it might actually be the one behind it. I believe it actually is the one behind it. That one will bring some cooler air, but it honestly looks like, I don't know if you can kind of see it, but you can see it pushing through, but it gets stopped and it goes off into like the Gulf instead, and then it kind of just curves its way up and becomes a little tropical system instead. That's a very weird thing right there. But you see how it turns from a cold front, it goes to the south of us instead, and almost turns into like a little tropical system. And it's not going to really bring us any sort of major cold air. I mean, it does bring us some more cooler air from the north, but and definitely will be some as you get into early November. And again, these are not temperatures. Let me make that clear. This is not temperatures. This is right here just dew points. And so this tells you how dry the air is. The higher the number is, the more moist, the more humid it's going to be, the more muggy it's going to be. But we definitely will see a cold blast as we go later into November, for sure. Now, I didn't see really too much precipitation. That's really not even associated really too much with precipitation. It's really just associated with some dryness. just like a dry front, and it seems like it doesn't want to quite get over the mountains over towards us, and so it might just bring us some cooler, dry air as you go into like November. So a lot going on for our future, but but that's not all, because what about the tropics? Tropical storm Melissa is still out here. Still now a 65-mile-per-hour storm. Let me go in and show you what it looks like. This is what Melissa looks like right here. It is indeed organizing really well now. Organizing really well now. And so now we are starting to get that rainfall still in those same areas, whether it be from Haiti, whether it be over there in the Dominican Republic or Cuba. A lot of these areas are still receiving this rainfall. So what does the discussion say on it? Well, the discussion says that for the most part, for Jamaica, first, due to Melissa's slow motion, a prolonged multi-day period of damaging winds and heavy rainfall resulting in potentially catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides is likely to begin on Saturday or Sunday. There's an increasing risk of life-threatening storm surge when the center of Melissa nears Jamaica early next week. Preparations to protect life and property should already be done. Now, for Haiti, heavy rainfall will result in catastrophic flash flooding and landslides across southwestern Haiti into early next week. Extensive damage to roads and buildings is expected, and potentially isolated communities for an extended period of time. Immediate preparations to protect life and property should be taken at this time. Strong winds could also potentially last for a day or more over the Tiburon Peninsula of Haiti. And then for the Dominican Republic, heavy rainfall could produce potentially catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides in southern portions of the Dominican Republic. And then for eastern Cuba and the Bahamas, interest in Cuba and the Bahamas should monitor the progress of Melissa, since there is an increasing risk of significant storm surge, damaging winds, and heavy rainfall by the middle of next week. The risk of life-threatening flash flooding and landslide for eastern Cuba are increasing. And I don't even think that those aren't the only areas as well. Southern Florida, which was actually inside of the tropical storm force wind probabilities, has now been moved out. And so I guess they think that it's going to take another curve to the east. And so Florida might not be too much inside of the bubble anymore. I think that they might be out of it. Things can still change. And if we go in and look at the cone and what the cone actually looks like right now, the cone still is, it's still uncertain, but it's definitely could go anywhere inside of this area. So that's why I always say anywhere inside of this dashed area is where the storm could go. That's why it's called the cone of uncertainty, because that's where it could go. If it goes all the way over here to the west, then yes, you may be talking about some impacts over there in Florida with tropical storm force winds potentially, but for now, if it takes that more eastward or even central track, not really going to do too much. For the models, we've looked at these every single day. They still are in agreement that it's not going to impact us really in any sort of way, shape, or form. That's the hurricane models, the GFS, same thing. The GEPS has one that goes towards us, so I guess not impossible, but it's still very, very, very unlikely. And then for the intensity guidance, I will say for this one as well, you can see it kind of starts to get to that high-end Category 4, but most of them still have it around like a Category 2, 3, 4 for the most part, and that's what it's expected to be. But if you go on and look down here, and you look at what this thing is going to do, 155 mile per hour wind gust, or wind speeds with 190 mile per hour wind gust. 155 mile per hour wind speeds with gusts of up to 190 miles per hour. That's at the direct center of the storm, obviously. And so when this thing makes landfall near Jamaica, that's the reason why they are telling people to prepare. Some people may have evacuated at this point because, wind speeds are going to be all the way up to 165 miles per hour for some areas. And so that's, for the most part, if it goes up 2 more miles an hour, that'd be a Category 5. If it goes up to 157 miles per hour, or 160, know if they do necessarily just single digits, but 160 miles per hour, that's a category 5 right there. And so we will have at this point our like third, fourth, fifth category 5 of the season so far. And I'm pretty sure that almost all hurricanes that have occurred this year in the Atlantic has turned into a category 5. So just a crazy stat to see. But again, this is just what the models are saying right here for the most part. You can also go in and look at the EC, E, and S, which is just the Euro model. The Euro, for the most part, you start this off, Melissa down there, you just continue to push this forward. And you might be looking, you might be saying, well, what do we have after it? Nothing really. Just nothing really. I'm not really too focused on anything else after Melissa is gone. Just because everything else is just kind of just out in space. I'm not seeing anything too consistent. And so we're still looking at potentially just that quiet tropical period as we go throughout the rest of potentially the season. But if we go in and look at what the global tropics hazards outlook look like as we go through the next 2 to 3 weeks, all the way from October 29th to November the 11th, yeah, you do have some increased moisture, but in terms of tropical cyclone formation, nothing. So it looks like, for the most part, that we won't really have too much really to talk about after Melissa is gone. Things can change and things can happen, but that's just what it's looking like right now. Let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, Mr. Chris stopped by first tonight, and he does say, good evening, everyone. Hope y'all had a great day. I did. Thank you so much for asking. Good evening to you. Also says, please remember to go and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Also share. It helps the channel grow. He's absolutely correct. We have right now 598 subscribers, trying to get to that main goal of 600. Let's go on and get there. My Aunt Lula comes in and says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. My Nana comes in and says, hello, Jay. A beautiful day. Glad to hear that. And then my Aunt Lula comes back and says, today in Georgetown it started out cool. However, the sun came out beautiful until late evening. Same thing pretty much at my house as well, even though the sun was pretty much out all day. Terrell comes in and says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. And then my Aunt Lula comes back and says, I enjoyed today's weather. Mr. Chris says, same here in Moncks Corner. Started off cold, but ended up nice. And so thank you all, thank you both, for sending me those weather reports from where y'all were in Georgetown and then in Moncks Corner. Mr. Chris says, man, that speed of a low-end tornado? Not necessarily. That's actually a high-end tornado. A low-end tornado has winds of around 65 to 85 miles per hour. That's a low-end tornado. A high, that has speeds around like a category, I think a category 4, because category 3 goes to 111 to 135. I believe so. 111 to 135, and then I believe EF4 goes pretty much from like 136 all the way up to like 200. And then EF5 is 200 plus miles per hour. So let me go ahead and check that real quick. I don't have that scale memorized exactly inside of my head, but EF0 is 65 to 85. EF1 is 86 to 110. EF2 is 111 to 135. EF3 is 136 to 165. EF4 is 166 to 200, and then EF5 would be 200 plus. So that would be around an EF3 tornado. So like an EF3 tornado was sitting over your house pretty much if you were inside of those main winds. And then when it's gusting of up to 190, like a EF4 tornado, I mean, that's throwing cars up, moving cars around, moving trains off of railroad tracks. completely destroying light buildings and chopping down large trees. That's what a EF4 tornado could do with those wind speeds. But again, the motion with the wind is different. You have a circular motion compared to just an actual straight line damaging winds. But I mean, they can still do pretty much the same in terms of damage strength. It really just matters on the situation and what's going on at that time frame. But that's pretty much all that I have for the audience. I don't see anything else. Let me see. Do I see anything else? No, I don't see anything else in here. So we'll come back. We will come back. But let's go on and talk about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and then also Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about those locations is because we have people from those areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they come in here, because they go on and show their support, we go on and give them their forecast, even though it's not even their area. Not even their area, but they still come on and show up. So let's go on and talk about them first. We always start off with San Antonio first. Low temperatures tonight at 70. High temperatures tomorrow 86. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at 67. Severe thunderstorms are expected tonight. So make sure that you are watching for that. Also, tomorrow, heavy rainfall again. And then for tomorrow night, the risk of rainfall is still not completely gone. You're still going to have a chance of thunderstorms there as well. And we already talked about, severe weather, severe thunderstorms possible for you. In terms of exact hazards and what's going to occur there, if I can go ahead and get it up here real quick. It's taking a bit of a second. Okay, something's going on with the website. I don't know what is going on with it. But I got the other one, so we're good. Over to where you are. You're in a slight risk. You have a 5% risk of tornadoes, meaning that scattered tornadoes are possible for you as those storms pass by. Also, scattered damaging wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour is possible for you as well. And then also, same thing with hail. Scattered hailstones of up to 1 inch in diameter. Now that might not sound like much. You say, oh, a bit scattered. But it's definitely a more bigger deal. Just because storms obviously are big. They can cover up a whole city. And if you're just talking about scattered areas, you could be talking about potentially around 30 to 20, 30, 40% of the city be taken over with hailstones of up to 1 inch in diameter. So that's why you just have to be mindful of it. Then next we have excessive rainfall. In terms of excessive rainfall for you, scattered flash flooding is possible tonight, and then isolated flash flooding is possible tomorrow. So make sure that you're watching out for that. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 40, high temperatures tomorrow at 65, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 41. There is indeed no precipitation that is expected at this time. In terms of excessive rainfall, there is indeed no threat of excessive rainfall either, so you're good for like the next 3 days. But on day 4, on Monday, isolated flash flooding is possible for you, so you're going to have to watch out for that. But after that, then you're actually good. Severe weather, none is expected for now. Then for Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you have low temperatures tonight at 40, high temperatures tomorrow at 59, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 41. No precipitation is expected at this time. No severe weather is expected at this time. And for excessive rainfall, most likely can guess there as well, as there is indeed no threat there either. So we're on a hot streak, but now we're about to get into the most active area, that being obviously Duncan, Oklahoma, with not only a threat for, same thing with San Antonio pretty much, with that isolated chance for some flash flooding, scattered threat maybe as well. But you do in fact have your low temperatures tonight at 58, high temperatures tomorrow at 70, and then low temperatures tomorrow night indeed are at 54. And then in terms of precipitation, no precipitation. Well, precipitation is expected for tonight, heavy rainfall, and then a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow and tomorrow night there as well. In terms for severe weather, there is indeed a chance for severe weather. We were just talking about that. For tonight, isolated tornadoes are possible, isolated damaging wind gusts are possible, and isolated damaging hailstones are possible, all the way up to an inch in diameter. And then in terms of excessive rainfall, there is indeed a slight risk, meaning that scattered flash flooding is possible tomorrow. And that's pretty much all for those four. So what's going on throughout the entire U.S.? Right now, it says severe thunderstorms and areas of heavy to excessive rainfall forecast over parts of the southern plains into the lower Mississippi River Valley through the weekend. An atmospheric river followed by a Pacific storm will bring periods of gusty winds, low elevation, heavy rain, and high elevation snow to parts of the northwestern U.S. through the weekend. There will be some freezing going on. Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, even over there inside of Maryland, and also Virginia. There also is indeed dense fog advisory that will be going on from Kansas down into Nebraska. And then we already talked about the high elevation snow, but some wind advisories are out for some strong winds potentially possible in Montana, Washington State, northwestern Nevada, parts of California, Idaho, and Oregon. So a good amount of stuff going on. Here. And that is all that I can see here. That says, good evening, Joseph. Sorry for my tardiness. That's all right. You made it. That's good. And there's nothing else out the chat. So top fans for tonight. Mr. Grits was at number 1. My Aunt Lula's at number 2. And then my Nana is at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans for tonight. If you want to be a top fan, you can. You just have to be a subscriber of the channel. And to be a subscriber to the channel, you have to have an account. And speaking of, we're at 588. Let's go and get to 600. We've been jumping around. We've jumped from 599 to 598 to 597 to 596 and back up to 599, then over towards 598. And then we've just been jumping back and forth all the way through. So please make sure, number 1, that you're not unsubscribing yourself. And number 2, make sure that you are sharing it with all the people that you know, even to people you don't like. Go and share it to them as well, because it would help me out. And obviously it would help everyone else out by getting some more and some better content out and better weather forecasts. So let's go on and get there. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Friday evening. Make sure that you are back tomorrow morning for our Saturday morning forecast update. Make sure also that you're here for Sunday evening as well. We will be talking about the last week of October, and we'll be going into November as we go into next week Saturday. Next week Saturday we will have our November and winter forecasts. So that's going to be a big one next week Saturday. So about 8 days out from now. I will be back. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow morning. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Friday evening. And make sure before you leave, you go on and hit those 2 buttons.